Probably.
I'm telling you, the newsroom erupted about an hour ago. That's because yesterday we sat right here at the same time on What's New, and we told you that Deshaun Watson had decided he was not interested in coming to Cleveland. Fast forward 24 hours, we're telling you he is now a Cleveland Brown. After telling the Browns he wasn't interested in waiving his no-trade clause yesterday to come here, the Browns went back to the accounting room and they sweetened the deal. And boy, did they make it sweet. Richest deal in NFL history, in fact. And lo and behold, Watson suddenly looked at Cleveland and said, you know, it's not so cold. And it could be a pretty good place. And 230 million other reasons have him thinking about what he'll look like in brown and orange. 5 years, the money is fully guaranteed. And by the way, that makes it the biggest contract in terms of guaranteed dollars in NFL history. And if you're wondering, it's about $2.6 million for every regular season game. Steep price, but not the only price the Browns will have to pay to get him. Here are the moving parts to the deal. The Texans will get 3 first-round picks from the Browns. They will get this year's first-round pick. They will get the 2022 first-round pick as well as the 2023 first-round pick. They will get a third-round pick in next year's draft. They will get a fourth-round pick in the 2024 draft. In exchange, here's what the Browns get. First of all, Deshaun Watson. He's the central figure, and why not? They will get a 5th-round pick from the Texans in the 2024 draft. So, what does all of this mean for one Baker Mayfield? For now, believe it or not, he's still on the Browns roster, but there are still 4 or 5 teams that are very much in the market for a quarterback. Carolina thought they had a shot at Watson, didn't get him. Atlanta really thought Deshaun Watson was coming to town. If they can't mend fences with Matt Ryan, they will be calling the Browns about interest in Baker Mayfield. So too will Indianapolis, New Orleans, and Seattle. All teams very much looking for a quarterback. So all of a sudden, Baker Mayfield has real trade value. And if they can wrangle a first-round pick and a second-round pick out of another team, it will help offset some of what they've given Houston for the rights to get Deshaun Watson. Wow, what a day. We have team coverage on this major breaking news story. Al Pawlowski in tonight for Nick. So, Al, Deshaun Watson, we know, is a complicated guy. He's got a rich history on the field. He has a sordid history off the field. So tell all of our viewers tonight about the newest member of the Cleveland Browns.
Well, Jay, you summed it up pretty well. Deshaun Watson is a very interesting guy with a lot of parts to him. So why is it such a big deal for him to get this much attention? Well, here we go. Watson went to Clemson, winning a national championship over Alabama in 2017. He was the 12th overall pick in the NFL draft that season to the Houston Texans. He has a 28-25 record as a starting quarterback, a playoff win in 2019 over the Bills. He's been voted to the Pro Bowl 3 times and was the 2020 passing leader with over 4,800 yards through the air that year, 33 touchdowns, and only 7 interceptions. So quite a talent. But Watson has had his share of injuries in his collegiate and pro career, too. In 2014, he broke his right hand while at Clemson and missed several games. In 2017, he tore his ACL in a non-contact drill while at practice in early November, missing the rest of his rookie campaign. Watson did not play at all last season after requesting a trade. Then shortly thereafter, the sexual assault allegations came out against him. Last week, a grand jury declined to indict Watson on those allegations. He is, however, still facing 22 civil lawsuits. Now, Watson's expected to have some sort of suspension from the NFL, but what that is and how long that will be is still unknown. So, Jay, Watson is a guy that is interesting. Obviously, fantastic athlete, great football player, but some baggage too. How does he fit here in Cleveland is the big question that will now be answered very shortly.
It is, Alan. I'm curious to see if you agree with this point. History will judge this trade very simply. If he leads the Browns to a Super Bowl, just one, and wins that Super Bowl, this trade is an overwhelming success. But, Al, I think short of that, I think it would be viewed as a failure. It's that big of a deal.
Yep, I would agree with you, Jay. The Browns really need to at least get to the Super Bowl, something they've never even played in, going back to the 60s. Remember how dominating they were in the 50s and 60s in the NFL championship games? Well, not so in the Super Bowl era. So if he gets there, I think the deal is seen as okay, but you're right. If he wins just one Super Bowl while in Cleveland, then this deal will be judged a success, no matter who all those draft picks are going to be. Yeah. And the final interesting point, Jay, just think the Browns could have gotten him for one draft pick in 2017.
That's exactly right. Had they called his name and they had the opportunity to do that. Yep. Before I let you go, one thing jumped out at me when you were reading about his career. You said his win-loss record, 28 and 25. At the end of the day, that's what quarterbacks are judged by.
Right.
How many games do you win?
Boy.
So he's 28 and 25. Baker Mayfield is 29 and 30.
Correct.
Not
that far apart.
No, it really isn't. As I said, history will tell us if the Browns win a Super Bowl, this was the right move. Otherwise, it'll probably be judged harshly by time. Al Pawlowski, thank you very much. We'll see you again in the second half hour for more on this big deal. Now, of course, social media exploded right after news of this deal first broke. Which, by the way, this trade, in my view and in my history of the league, is one of the biggest trades in NFL history. The one other that comes to mind, the Dallas Cowboys made a trade in the early 90s to the Minnesota Vikings where they shipped off Herschel Walker and got a boatload of draft picks. The Cowboys turned those draft picks into 3 Super Bowls in 4 years.
Wow.
So it was a huge success for them. But the team that got the one player was the Vikings. Didn't help them much at all. So there's that. Social media exploding. The fans are going crazy.
Yeah, well, that's one part of it, right? But let's go to the top, the guy himself, because Watson posted on Instagram just after 4 o'clock this afternoon. The caption, Cleveland, let's go.
Wow.
With the hashtag #DogPound and ready to work. And, of course, LeBron James tweeted as well, seeming happy about this, posting the hands in the air emojis and dog emojis and saying, yes, sir. And when it comes to the viewers, username Sir Yacht, who has a lot of videos on Twitter.
He's a great follow-up.
He is. He's a bit of a comedian. Deshaun Watson is the first active NFL QB to ever choose the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, this in terms of quarterbacks, Betsy, this is the biggest trade in league history involving a quarterback.
Yeah.
That's how big this is.
It's a lot of money. And not only that, but just everything. I'm just gobsmacked by all of it. Danny Parkins says on Twitter, as if we needed another reminder, Deshaun Watson getting the largest guarantee in NFL history by a large margin with pending 22 civil cases and assuredly a lengthy suspension should tell everyone what the NFL prioritizes above all, talent. Not saying it's right, just reality. And I think that's been a big part of this ever since that news broke. There's kind of two camps, right? There's the people who are the football fanatics who are like, wow, and biggest NFL contract and everything. And then there's the other people who kind of sit back and they're like, we don't even know if he's going to get to play all the games.
Yeah.
There's the possibility of these civil suits on top of, that NFL possibly suspending him. He'll get paid, by the way, even if he's suspended, because all that money is guaranteed.
Yeah, it's guaranteed. In my view, there will likely be a suspension. I don't think it will be lengthy. The one thing that we have to drive home here is the grand jury looked at all the evidence.
Absolutely.
And he wasn't even charged with a crime. So it's one thing if a player is charged with a crime, but exonerated in a trial.
Yes.
There are no charges.
Well,
so
this is the difference between a court of law and the court of public opinion.
And that's what's going to weigh.
And that's the difference that everybody's trying to navigate.
So if you are trying him and convicting him in your mind because there were so many alleged victims. No, you can't do that by law. But fans certainly have the right to do that. And I've already heard from fans that say, look, even if this team was to win a Super Bowl, the hope was and continues to be that you can do it with a team that you can be proud of. That's and again, no charges, but it's lingering out there.
Situational awareness is a big deal. He's got a lot to prove to a lot of people still.
Wow, obviously a developing story. There are still some moving parts. I don't expect that Baker Mayfield will be traded today. But I do expect it's coming in the very near future.
Really?
I do, yeah, because the league calendar starts on March 16th, so it's ticking. The draft is just around the corner. Teams want to know where they stand with their quarterback before they get to the draft. So you can bet that any developments that happen, you will hear about them on our website, WKYC.com.
Wow, what a wrap. All right, we're going to switch gears now. We have new details on President Biden's meeting today with China's president. After the 2-hour call, the White House said President Biden warned China of the implications and consequences if China provides material support to Russia. China said, quote, "The Ukraine crisis is not something we want to see. Conflict and confrontation are not in anyone's interest." Foreign policy experts see hope that China's leader could influence Russian President Vladimir Putin.
He does not want to see China impacted by the kind of sanctions that Russia is engaged in, because that would really hurt China's economy.
Well, in Lviv, 109 empty baby strollers placed in the town square to honor the 109 children Ukrainian authorities say have been killed so far. It's a gut-wrenching reminder of the war's true cost.
Well, some of the first families who have fled from Ukraine to Northeast Ohio are now here. Marissa Sines caught up with one family who has settled in Parma and is starting their lives over. Marissa, this has to be an incredible traumatic experience for them. I can only imagine what they were saying.
Jay, it was, and spending the day with them today was really eye-opening. The Kamuliak family is who we spent the afternoon with. They came here from Ukraine, or they fled Ukraine just 3 weeks ago. Ludmila is the mother. She's got 2 teenage kids here, Karina and Arthur. They were living in Ukraine with their family since 2020, and then were forced to leave whenever the war began. Now, they tell me in just a few hours they packed what they could, which is not much, and tried to find any way out of the country. Ludmila says they got themselves to the Polish border, waited 10 hours in line, booked a flight to Toronto, and then came to Parma. The Kamuliak family actually used to live in Ohio. They lived here for 9 years before going back to Ukraine, and with the help of friends and family they still have here, they were able to find a home, but they're still processing the jarring last-minute reality.
It's like a mix of everything. I'm afraid and worried. We decided to come back because it was hard. But I have a lot of good friends that help. They're helping with stuff, with job, with everything. Thank God.
Yeah, the family is renting a 2-bedroom apartment in Parma, but it's empty again. They really didn't come with a lot, and coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll tell you how they're settling in, how they're trying to make a new life here, and who's helping them. Jay.
All right, Marissa, thank you very much. This is one family. I read something today that estimates 6 million Ukrainians have been displaced because of this war. It's just incredible, the reach and the effect from the war in Ukraine. Marissa, thank you.
Coming up next on What's New, a student hero. Meet the little boy who helped save his entire school bus and bus driver right here in Northeast Ohio.
Wow, that's what a hero looks like right there. Then fans of dance will want to mark their calendars for a one-night-only engagement at Playhouse Square with a famed choreographer. We have details ahead in Clicking in Cleveland.
And Jason has your forecast for today. Jason, we're going to manage to squeeze in a new weather forecast in here.
Yes, we are. And it's also beginning to change over a little bit as well. We're beginning to see a little bit of rain kind of knocking on our door back towards the south and west. But for this evening, depending on where you are, temperatures are going to be changing. We've got 70s in some areas, 60s in others. By the time we get to the latter portion of the evening, it's going to be in the 50s. The ever-changing forecast is coming up next.
Well, now on your feet at 5. Here is a great story that's coming to us out of out of Twinsburg. A 5th grade student is being hailed a hero today after jumping into action when his bus driver lost consciousness on the way home.
It's incredible. It really is. Brandon Simmons spoke to the young man today about what was going through his mind and the praise and now fame he's dealing with today.
For 11-year-old Sujan Singh, the last couple days have been special.
Normally, I just talk to only some people, but now everybody's talking to me today.
I'd say you're the most popular kid in school today.
Maybe, yes.
That's what happens when you save the day. Thursday afternoon, during the ride home from school, Sujan's bus driver suffered some sort of medical emergency.
The bus driver, he was like coughing and twitching with his arm.
The bus was out of control, going about 20 miles per hour in a curve. Sujan, seated near the driver, sprang into action.
We pulled the video off the bus, and sure enough, that's when we identified that it was our friend here, Sujan, who really was the hero in stopping that school bus.
He moved the driver's feet away from the gas pedal and applied the brakes, stopping the bus moments before crashing into a street light and going any further.
I just went straight, just take off his foot of the gas pedal and just hit the brake.
So then he started to say, you know, open the door, open the door.
Thankfully, no one was hurt. Students exited the bus through emergency doors, and the driver was taken to the hospital by medical personnel. Today, Sujan is big man on campus, being celebrated for his heroic actions. And despite being fearful in the moment, he's already offering advice to others who find themselves in a scary situation.
Scared a lot, but I was brave. Like, know what to do, just try to not make yourself cry. Just try to help people around.
He is definitely a hero.
Definitely a hero for sure. I asked him what it's like to be a hero. He said, just another day. You know, I think he's a little bit too cool for that. But Sujan's parents, they're definitely proud of him. They're already sharing the story with family members who are still talking about it. Now, as for the bus driver, he's at home recovering right now, anxious to get back on the job, but he has to have medical clearance first. So right now, just resting at home, Betsy.
What an incredible story. Props to Sujan. We're very proud of you. That's fantastic. And boy, I think there's a lot of people out there that could probably learn a thing or two about where the brake pedal is from our friend Sujan. So maybe he can give us a recreation one of these days. Brandon, great job on that story. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Wow. And there's video because we heard the school official say we pulled the video, and sure enough, it was our friend. I can't wait to see that video.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get our hands on that for sure. Wow. Few details to jump through on getting that for sure. But you know what? Today's weather has not been too bad. We had a few more clouds. Okay, we've been spoiled officially. It's not sunny and 70, and now we're sad. But
exactly,
we'll deal.
It was better than I expected.
Okay, that's good.
So we're glass half full, Jay? Is that right?
Absolutely, even more than half full.
Yeah, and anytime Betsy's smiling when it comes to the weather, you know, like, hey, we're in a good place in terms of living here on Earth. Hey, we had a pretty strong lake breeze come through. I'm not sure if you kind of saw this, but Marissa was sleeveless in her live shot. Brandon had a jacket on, and we have a strong breeze coming right off the lake right now. Depending on where you are, you're cooler, and some other areas are frankly just enjoying the weather outside right now. This is what it looks like. This is the system that we're watching watching right now. It is slowly making its way into northeast Ohio. On the backside of that is a very, very different air mass. We're talking about an air mass that's coming out of Canada and just going to wrap right around and head right on into northeast Ohio tonight through tomorrow as well. Look at the difference in temperatures, okay? Between Chicago and also St. Louis, a 20-degree difference. Kansas City, St. Louis, a 20-degree difference there as well. And Burke Lakefront reporting in the mid-40s right now. So this is a setup when I take all of that information away. This is textbook look of an area of low pressure, counterclockwise flow. You can see there as we get some of these storms kind of loft right on into northeast Ohio. Not expecting any severe weather overall tonight, but we're all expecting some light to moderate shower activity. That is likely going to kick off over the next hour or two, certainly starting out areas west and then moving right along the 7180 corridor between northeast Ohio and also portions of central and northwest Ohio. Through tonight and heading into early hours for tomorrow, visibility a bit suffering here and there. I think there's likely going to be a little bit of ponding in some of our depression areas as well, some of our secondary roadways. Once we get through tomorrow afternoon into the evening, you notice the rain is now coming out of the west. And yeah, boom, it's wrapping around there, and temperatures also going to be falling, different from this evening versus tomorrow evening and also on Sunday evening as well. Here's the Union Home Mortgage 7-day outlook. You can see as you're planning the rest of your weekend through next week, we got this up and down flow we got going on here. Upper 50s for tomorrow, low 50s first day of spring on Sunday, low 60s from Monday. Doesn't that sound good? Low 50s by Tuesday, boom, and back up into near 60 by Wednesday. Hey, we'll get there. Spring will officially arrive on Sunday. Much more coming on What's New after this.
Sorry, there I go. Sorry, yeah, we only got 2 stories today, and one of them is about a local dance woman. Dun, dun.
All right, welcome back to What's New. It is now time for our Friday pop break.
Yes, there are other things popping today. Kira Cotton joins us now from the newsroom with the latest. Hey, Key.
Hey, Jay and Betsy. Today we're starting today's pop break with the update to a story I told you guys about a few weeks ago. Following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher launched a campaign to help raise money for relief efforts. Since the GoFundMe launch, the couple has raised more than $30 million. Mila, who was born in the Ukraine, shared the news alongside her husband in a joint video on Instagram today. The couple explained that they are overwhelmed with gratitude for the support, but reiterated that the journey is far from over. According to Mila and Ashton, the money is being donated to flexport.org and airbnb.com so they continue to act immediately. And And as we're seeing the pandemic wane, Playhouse Square is back in the spotlight. On Saturday, for one night only, Dance Cleveland and the Ohio Theater will host renowned choreographer Pam Tanowitz. The Ohio State alum, alongside 8 dancers, will be performing new work for Goldberg variants. Pam will also be joined by pianist Simone Dinnerstein. I had the chance to talk with Pam this morning ahead of her performance, and she says the combination of 2 women tackling a historic score is something you won't want to miss.
Every time we perform it, it's different. Nothing's improvised, but because there's living, breathing dancers and living, breathing musician on stage, it's never going to be the same twice. And that's a reason to come.
Jay and Betsy, I have to tell you, I had so much fun talking to Pam this morning. She was so spunky and full of life, and tickets to her show are still available. I put a link for that as well as our full interview up now on WKYC.com.
Awesome. So much going on around here. It's great to have just a little bit more to think about. Thank you so much, Kara. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Ahead in the second half hour of What's New, one of our 3 News coworkers has an important announcement about her health. Danielle Wiggins, in her own words, about learning recently that she has breast cancer. Happy Friday, Northeast Ohio. I'm Betsy Kling alongside Jay Crawford. And my goodness, what a big day we're having.
Yeah, it really is crazy. We're counting down to spring.
Well,
Are we still doing that, Bob?
about.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you thought I was talking about this whole Deshaun Watson thing?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, gosh, no.
Oh, you mean that because we're 2 days from spring? It's such a huge day.
We're so excited about that.
Well, we're so excited that we're putting Denise Stefanik Looker, her beautiful pictures that she sent of spring on the What's New program. 2 more days, Bets.
Yeah.
Would we sit in this studio again?
Yeah.
It will officially be spring.
How about that?
I'm so excited about that.
It won't be sunny and 70, but it will officially be spring.
Yeah, I know it won't.
Baby steps.
That's okay. We're close.
Yeah.
We're getting there. As for what I thought you were talking about.
Everything else.
If you've been in a cave for the last, I don't know, hour or so,
With me.
You're not going to believe what we're about to tell you. You're really not, because yesterday the news was Deshaun Watson had told the Browns, thanks, but no thanks. The story was after the Browns took their private jet down to Houston to try to convince him to come to Cleveland, Deshaun still wasn't interested. Remember, he said he wanted to play in a dome or he wanted to play somewhere where it was warm. But I had a source tell me late this afternoon that something happened between Deshaun Watson and Andrew Berry, the Browns GM, that there's some sort of relationship building, a bond that they both felt. So that played into it, and the richest contract in NFL history also plays into it.
The bond is the checkbook, and who's holding it? Come on.
Andrew, I like you so much now that you're talking $230 million.
We're going to be good friends
over the next 5 years. Biggest contract in terms of guaranteed dollars in team history. So Deshaun changes his mind, and he says, I want to play for Cleveland. And it's official, folks. The deal is done. When you next see Deshaun Watson, he'll be wearing brown and orange. All right. Now, what do the Browns have to give up? Aside from the $230 million over 5 years, here's what the Texans will get from the Browns. 3 first-round draft picks. The one coming up in the 2022 draft. Also the first-round pick in 2023 and 2024. So unless the Browns trade for one in the future, the Browns won't have a first-round pick until 2025. They'll get a third-round pick from the Browns. That will be in next year's draft, 2023. They'll also get a fourth-round pick. That will be in the 2024 draft. In exchange for all of that, the Browns, of course, get Deshaun Watson, who many will tell you is in the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. He's a dual threat, can throw it, can run it. His teams have won. The Browns also get a 5th-round pick. That will be in the 2024 draft. But another question that just begs answering here is, what happens to number 6? Baker Mayfield said goodbye to Browns fans in a note to Twitter a couple of nights ago, and then yesterday asked for a trade. The Browns said, no, we're not going to accommodate. He's still on the roster for now, but there are 5 or 6 NFL teams that very much need a quarterback. Among them, Carolina, perhaps Atlanta, if they can't fix things with Matt Ryan. Remember, Atlanta thought they had Deshaun Watson signed, sealed, and delivered. Indianapolis needs a quarterback. Carson Wentz is gone. He went to Washington. New Orleans still looking for the replacement to one Drew Brees. And Seattle, now that Russ is gone, is also in the market. So because of that, all of a sudden, Baker Mayfield has some real trade value. And if they can wrestle a 1 and maybe a 2 out of teams in terms of draft picks, it might lessen the price that they had to give for Deshaun Watson. I want to show you some numbers. Mo, do we have that comparison on the career numbers? We do. Here they are. So for the career of Deshaun Watson, his win-loss record is 28-25. He's thrown 104 touchdowns to just 36 picks. Baker's record is not that much different from Deshaun's. 29 wins, 30 losses. But where the real difference comes in is the touchdown to interception ratio. Mayfield has thrown 92 touchdowns, so 12 fewer than Watson. But look at the 56 interceptions, 20 more than Deshaun. Watson clearly does a better job of taking care of the football. So let's bring back Al Pawlowski now. He is in for Nick Camino tonight. Al, we know that Deshaun's got a rich history on the field, going back to high school and even in college, but there's a lot to him. Tell us about our newest member of the Cleveland Browns.
There certainly is a lot to Deshaun Watson. So why is it such a big deal for Deshaun Watson to be not only that guy on the field and off the field? Why is everybody talking about him in maybe different terms than a typical player? Well, Watson went to Clemson. He won a national championship over Alabama in 2017. He was the 12th overall pick in the NFL draft that season to the Houston Texans. His overall record is 28-25 as a starting QB. He does have a playoff win in 2019 over the Buffalo Bills. He's also been to the Pro Bowl 3 times. And in 2020, he was the NFL passing leader with 4,800 yards through the air, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, as Jay said. So that touchdown to interception ratio, very strong. Now, Watson has had, though, his share of injuries, too, in both college and the pros. In 2014, he broke his right hand while at Clemson, missed several games. In 2017, he tore his ACL in a non-contact drill at practice in early November. Then he missed the rest of his rookie campaign. He also didn't play at all last season after requesting a trade. Then shortly thereafter, the sexual assault allegations came out against him. Now, last week, a grand jury declined to indict Watson on those allegations. He is, however, still facing 22 civil lawsuits. Watson is expected to have some sort of suspension from the NFL, but what exactly that is, how long it will be, those are unknowns. So Deshaun Watson, he's a lot on the field and off. As you said, Jay, biggest contract in Browns history. I wonder how that conversation went with Andrew Berry. Did he say, hey, I want to give you $230 million guaranteed. You want to come play for us? And Deshaun said, okay, that sounds good.
It really is remarkable when you think about it. And now, Al, let's take a look at the Browns division here in the AFC North. Mm-hmm. You talk about a quarterback-rich division. You've got Cincinnati, Joe Burrow, won a Heisman Trophy, won a national championship in college at LSU, took the Bengals to the Super Bowl. Baltimore has Lamar Jackson. He's a Heisman Trophy winner and an MVP candidate. The Browns now, Deshaun Watson finished as the Heisman runner-up in his last year at Clemson. And Mitch Trubisky now in Pittsburgh, also a Pro Bowl quarterback in his days with the Chicago Bears. This might be, I think it is, the best quarterback play of any division in the NFL.
I would agree with that. I think you'd have to go back to the old AFC Central in the 80s when you had guys like Kozar and Warren Moon and Terry Bradshaw in the late 70s and early 80s. When you think about the division then, Ken Anderson. I mean, these sorts of names that you just described, that fits in with those sorts of quarterbacks. So this is going to be a very tough division now. You would think the offenses are going to be great. And remember, too, Jay, the Browns have some good offensive weapons now. Of course, we know about Hunt and Chubb, but Amari Cooper just came over. That's a pretty good receiver for Watson to throw to. And he's got 1,600 yards rushing in his career, too. Deshaun Watson does. Yeah. That's pretty good.
Terrific scrambling quarterback. Wow. History will show this trade was a success if the Browns win a Super Bowl. That's my view anyhow. Yep. Other than that, it's going to be hard to say it was a successful trade. Al, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Betsy, we know that social media has been going nuts with reaction to this. Not just fans, but also players, including Deshaun Watson himself. He's the one that gets us started.
Yeah, let's get it started with a look at what's happening on social media. Just after 4 o'clock this afternoon, Deshaun Watson posted this on his Instagram with the caption, "Cleveland, let's go," with the hashtag #DogPound. And ready to work. Let's hope so. Now to the viewers. Twitter user Irrational Browns Elf tweeted, "How many games is Watson now going to be suspended? Just enough for the Browns to miss playoffs and not have a single pick to show for it. Hope it was worth all this." Of course, we don't know how many games he'll be suspended.
We don't know if he will be suspended.
He will be suspended. That's a big thing. Rafael Vela says on Twitter, Deshaun Watson to the Browns. Best QB that franchise has had since Bernie Kosar? That's roughly 30 years. Those in the Cowboys fan base who like to ding the incumbent QB should consider if they could live through a QB drought like Cleveland's. Ouch. And user The Huddle Is Real says, "Gonna take a week and think on it before I decide if I can support this move and this franchise. Just my opinion." There's a lot of people that are kind of like floating in the wind on this one. It was shocking. I mean, the newsroom completely blew up, and then you kind of started to get varying opinions coming at you, and everybody just kind of like, wow, whoa, because I think it really stunned a lot of people today.
It did. Aside from the money, the $230 million for 5 years guaranteed.
Stunning.
So that's just under $3 million a game.
Per game.
That's incredible.
Whether he's on the field or not.
Yeah, that's guaranteed. So,
no matter what.
So there's that. And then when you look at the haul that they're giving up to get him, 3 first-round draft picks.
We need wide receivers.
In terms of NFL trades, this is one of the biggest I've ever seen. The Herschel Walker and Dallas, Minnesota trade was bigger in terms of pieces, but this is right there with it in terms of impact. So 3 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and a fourth-round pick. I will wrap it up by saying this. Baker Mayfield will be traded.
Yeah.
The question is, who's going to give up the most to get him? Will it be a first-round pick and maybe a third-round pick? I know the Browns would love to get that much for him.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to get. The fact that there are 5 teams that are in the market for a quality quarterback makes it better for the Browns. That will drive the price up. If they can get in a bidding war with 2 or 3 teams, they might get a first-round pick and another pick, and that would offset some of the pieces that they're giving Houston to get Deshaun Watson.
Still more to come, friends. Plenty more to come. And speaking of more to come, Jason's back with the forecast coming up. Checking in with Jason now again on the forecast. You know, Jay, I'm just sitting here thinking, I now know what Jay Crawford feels like when there's a massive winter storm coming through. He just kind of sits and twiddles his thumb.
I watch. I pay close attention.
You do pay attention. I've been paying attention. He's been crunching numbers like crazy on stats and all that fun stuff. But it's kind of nice to actually take a back seat a little bit.
Just like put things on cruise a little bit. And just kind of admire what's happening outside. I saw that view that's happening right behind you. This is the setup, guys. We're getting ready to kind of wring out a little rainwater here in northeast Ohio. Look at this system. Gosh, it's causing some mixed precipitation back over towards Iowa, portions of Wisconsin, even causing some snares in terms of rainfall, light to moderate showers across south central Ohio at this point. So if I remove all those layers, you can see what this system looks like right now. Even getting a little bit of convection there over towards northern Indiana and also northwestern portions of Ohio. Now let's get right down to it. We've had a lake breeze come into the area shortly about an hour or so ago. So right along the lakeside, some areas are a bit cooler than others. We have a strong breeze coming out of the south. You can see up to about 15 to 17 miles per hour. And with the rainwater moving on in later this evening into the overnight hours, we could be causing a little bit of issues there on the roadways and also some visibility concerns. Models are predicting anywhere from perhaps a quarter, perhaps even up to a half inch, if not isolated amounts of more over the next 24 to 36 hours. So let's roll the clock forward here in your National Design-Mar hour-by-hour forecast. A wave of water is likely coming in between 8 and 10 p.m. for this evening, and then we'll have more rain showers coming through overnight tonight. I think the morning commute is going to be a bit more on the mild side. If you have to go anywhere for an early Saturday morning, I think we'll keep the clouds around for the most part, and then we'll get this secondary push of energy coming in tomorrow afternoon through the evening hours. That's when we get that really good wraparound moisture coming on in. You can see a little bit of mixed precipitation. This we can get some of the 30s down closer to the freezing mark for early Sunday, or at least early Sunday morning prior to sunrise. maybe we can squeeze out a little bit of mixed precipitation, maybe even a few flurries, but I don't think we're going to really hit that. We'll keep watching it over the next 24 hours. You can see here we're Burke Lakefront, mid-40s right now, 60s over in Chardon, even low 50s back towards Sandusky, 60s and 70s, 71 degrees down there in Canton at this hour. So we like to see those balmy conditions there. First day of spring, my friends, happens on Sunday. We'll be a bit cooler on Sunday, no doubt, but we have a morning sprinkle or two and then some afternoon clearing by Monday. Isn't that beautiful? Low 60s, sun, few clouds expected. Bit more chilly, though. We got 30 starting us out on Monday, Tuesday. Low 40s on Wednesday. Rain likely as we're expecting another system to push on through. That should be out of here by mid to late day on Thursday. Low 50s expected with sun, few clouds. And Friday, hovering around 50 degrees. Jay and Bets.
All right. Jay, thanks. Your sneaker game is on point. I think at some point today you have to show those on air.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I'm not. They're fire.
It's
a
old Friday moment.
They're
I
fire.
want to know where you got them.
They're
Do you know?
fire.
They are.
Listen to you, hipster.
I love them. I'm not kidding. Coming up in today's Show Us Something Good, a hotline. I love this story for kindergartners.
From kindergartners.
Yeah, and it's for kindergartners.
Is it?
Yes, to give people who are in need of a positive message. So all the details come up.
I get someone to maybe. I mean, there are parallels to be made between me and a kindergartner.
Maybe you can use this hotline.
Definitely. And you know what? We have an incredible story to bring you, everybody. Our Danielle Wiggins is one of the most amazing people. She is opening up about her recent cancer diagnosis. Just wait till you hear her words. Tonight we have some news to share with you about one of our own. Go anchor Danielle Wiggins was recently diagnosed with breast cancer.
And tonight she is sharing very bravely her diagnosis with all of us in her own words.
Nobody ever expects to hear the words, "You have cancer." My doctor called and said the biopsy that I had came back cancerous. It was very shocking. Before I came to WKYC, I was a producer correspondent for Regina Brett, who is a former columnist for The Plain Dealer. She is a breast cancer survivor, and she writes about it in her books. She talks about it a lot. I listened and I started to do self-breast exams every so often. So I'm going to share my age because it's very important. The Cleveland Clinic, as soon as I turned 40, they had sent me emails through my chart to schedule a mammogram. You need a routine mammogram screening. They kept sending emails, Danielle, schedule your mammogram. And so I did, and it was scheduled for December. And in November, touched my breast tissue, and it was something, I was like, this doesn't feel right. Something feels off with this. So I went 2 weeks later for a biopsy, and that came back cancerous. I went to meet with the breast surgeon, and she explained the entire diagnosis. She said I had the most common form, but she said, but you're 40. And I started crying. I just learned that nationally, the guideline is 50 years old to get a mammogram. So if you think, if I would not have gotten a mammogram until I was 50, I would not have made it until I was 50 years old. Then I started, well, did I do this? Is it diet? Is it this? She said, damn, I'm sorry, sometimes it's just bad luck and you did nothing wrong. So there's a lot of decisions to make in a short amount of time. I had the option to do lumpectomy or double mastectomy. I'm like, what can I do that is going to give me the best chance to live the longest life and that I will have peace with? Having to sit down with your kids and tell them that you're sick when you don't feel sick and you don't look sick seems surreal. I have a 13 going on 14-year-old son and an 11-year-old daughter. And we've used this to kind of teach them, here's what we do with our fear so that it doesn't consume us. It's really holding on to that hope and holding on to the rays of sunshine that you see each and every day when you're down. I just think that the biggest thing is everyone asks me like how I feel, you know, and it's just, I don't know how I feel sometimes. It's just moment by moment. And I'm in this moment, I feel great, you know. Maybe in 5 more minutes, it will be like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I have cancer. I'm only 40 years old. You asked before about like, what can people do? And I think even just showing me grace and mercy and then showing other people around you grace and mercy, because you never know what people are going through. If you pray, pray. Pray a little prayer. If you know who my children are, just encourage them. I want life. I want people who bring life around me. Like on the morning show, the morning show has been a great distraction because you'll hear me in the background laughing, but it helps because it brings life. The biggest thing that I want people to do to help me is to take your health seriously.
She's so amazing. And what great words, you know, if something feels off, get it looked at, no matter what it is. But in her case, you know, she definitely has a great testimony to tell everybody.
She does, and a lesson for others. Get that mammogram.
Yeah.
Get them regularly, absolutely. The one thing that she said, and so much of what she said resonates, but the one thing that really stands out to me is show mercy and grace.
Yep.
Because you never know what folks are going through. Yeah. And it's just, it's a great rule to live by in general. And I've found in my life that as you treat people with grace and show mercy, that in the karmic way of the universe, it comes back on you in so many ways. And we've been so blessed in our lives. Yep. And I know that we both try to live our lives that way. And so does Danielle. Spread that grace and that mercy. It'll come back to you tenfold, I promise. And by the way, Danielle, I said this to you in an email earlier today, and I'll say it now with Betsy. You have an army behind you. You will meet this challenge. You will beat this foe, and you will persevere.
Yeah, she's not missed a beat. Up until today, a lot of you, most of you, had no idea anything was amiss. And now you know, and guess what? Here's the thing. There's still a lot of unknowns ahead for Danielle. She will be taking the next few weeks off as she takes the next steps of this journey.
Her biggest hope is that she can use her experience, as we said, to help other women. Tonight at 6, she and a Cleveland doctor talk about the importance of early screenings and knowing your own risk factors. Next, some students create a hotline to share words of encouragement. It's a really cool story. We'll hear the message that's now going viral.
It really needs steam. And
it does need steam. Hey, I have you. Mic check. 1, 2, 3.
Paul, and I walked out the door. That's how close I was. We would have had the.
Hey, you checking my mic? I do. Mic check. Sarah's mic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Hey, can you hear me? Okay.
Hey, check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How you doing? Check 1, 2, 3. Brandon's microphone from Twinsburg, where we're still talking about that bus driver who.
Today's show is something good is a great way to head into the weekend. A kindergarten class in California created a hotline that gives you options for joy as part of an art project. It's called Pep Talk Hotline, and the phone number is at the bottom of your screen, and those teeny little numbers, 707-998-8410. Both Jay and I are trying to scrunch our eyes up to see it. Okay. Now, if you call that number and you press 1, you get a message if you're feeling frustrated or mad. If you press 2, you get a special message if you need words of encouragement and life advice. Remember, these are kindergartners who are doing the messages. Press 3 if you need to hear kids laughing. Who doesn't love that? We pressed 2 and we got this.
Be grateful for yourself. Dude, live it up. Be you. I trust that you can make things right. Be happy. We all really like you.
Beautiful. Certainly great. And thank you for watching us tonight.
Made my day. 3 News at 6 with Laura and I starts right now.
Live from WKYC Studios, this is 3 News at 6.
A very good Friday evening to everyone. Thanks for being with us. I'm Jay Crawford. Russ has the night off.
Tonight we have breaking news, of course, from the Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson has changed his mind and will now accept a trade to the Browns.
Yeah, here's a look at the picture that Deshaun posted just about an hour ago on his Instagram account. It's, of course, him